pretty festive in my corner.
You've always got a festive little nook. Corner? Either way.
Little nook. You have a festive nook this year, too.
Don't be talking about my nook.
Hello and welcome to Hardly Holidays, the sweet and condensed version of our show. I'm Kelly.
And I'm SP,
And
joined
this is
today
Milo.
by our first guest ever on Hardly Holidays. Our studio pup, Milo the Wonder Dog.
Hi, Milo.
What kind of dog is Milo?
He's a weenie dog.
A schnitzel?
A dachshund.
A dachshund?
He's a weenie dog.
And he's going to be hanging with us at least for day 2 of Hardly Holidays. Happy Christmas Eve, everyone.
Oh, Christmas Eve. So fun. I love Christmas Eve. The cookies, the candies, the anticipation of opening the stockings the next day, because that's my favorite part. And the gifts, but the stockings. It's all about the stockings for me.
Christmas Eve was always marked in my life by having to go and celebrate with my extended family.
Not me.
No? You're one of the lucky ones.
We did Sweeney Christmas, but it was never near Christmas. It was always like the week before, the week after. Christmas Eve was always the day that my parents were like, get in bed and stay in bed and don't get out.
Yeah.
And I always was like, I can't go to the bathroom because what if Santa comes? He's not going to leave the gifts if Santa comes. And when I had to go to the bathroom, I would always look to be like, is there anything under the tree that's not wrapped?
So
Never
your
was.
parents would keep things from you? Like they wouldn't put things out until the night of?
Till the morning of.
Yeah.
Which
but
makes
like the
sense
night
as
before.
an adult now. I'm
Right.
like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to do it
Yeah,
in the
that's
morning.
not how we do it. You load it up on November 1st.
No, there would be presents under the tree.
Just not Santa's
But
presents.
Santa's present was always not wrapped, which is why I think I do that. We used to do that for B when she still was there. I don't know who's listening to this show, so that's why I guess I've ruined it already. So it doesn't matter. Spoilers, don't let your kids listen.
Oh, about Santa?
Yeah. I was like, spoiler, don't let your kids listen. I was like really walking all over myself, and you're like,
I don't
what's
think
the
a lot
problem?
of people's children are watching this. So I think we're listening to
Sorry,
this rather.
Junie, you're too young. You don't know anyway. It's okay.
Plus, Danielle and Randy will tell Junie immediately that Santa is
but
who he is.
that's how we always knew what the gift was from Santa's, because it wasn't wrapped. Maybe it had a bow on it or something. Does that make sense? That's why I think it was maybe weird for you that I did that when we got married and I was doing things for Brooklyn.
It was
I
a
don't
little
know
odd.
that I ever told you that, but my parents never wrapped the gifts from Santa.
Yeah.
It was always just under the tree. So when you woke up, it was like the first thing that you saw on the first gift you would get. And then we do stockings and then breakfast and then open all the
You know, there was
presents.
one year you did that with Brooklyn for a big squishmallow.
I
and
did.
You didn't wrap it, just
I
like you
didn't.
said, but you put a tag on
That
it.
said from the North Pole.
Very cute. From the North Pole.
I still have those
Item number
tags.
314, inspected by Hermes, Elf, 12,
Yeah.
whatever, all this stuff. It was so cute. And a couple of years ago when Brooklyn's like, I need to let you know, I know there's no Santa. And then she started putting it together. She's like, so you know that big squishmallow you guys got me with the tag that said from the North Pole? So that was a lie, right? It's like,
You're
God,
like-
well, yes. And wait till she hears all the other lies we've told her about the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and so many things.
I was like, are you saying words? You just went, he moved his mouth up and down. I was like waiting for more.
Either way, if you are listening to it right now, happy Christmas Eve. And if you're listening to it later, happy Tuesday, whatever it is for you. I don't know what it is. But today, much like many of our episodes of Hardly Working, all 100 of them prior to this, 101 of them, we've always incorporated stories. And today
Stories.
is a day like no other, but also just like any other day.
We're doing stories.
We've got some outrageous stories. We've got some heartfelt ones, mostly all surrounding the holidays. So get comfy, get cozy, get ready to find some talking points for your Christmas, because we've got some stories to share with you, especially this one, starting off with a heartfelt story.
I don't know if I should trust you or not.
Well, the only thing you need to worry about is if we talk about Chapel Roan. Otherwise, it's all straight down
Been
the
there,
barrel.
done that.
Did you ever write letters to Santa as a kid?
Yes, and my dad would write letters back.
What? That is a good dad. I don't
And
think
I-
I'd do that.
Yeah, my mom couldn't do it because I know her writing too well, but I didn't really know my dad's writing very well, and so I never knew.
It's because he's left-handed. I
Yeah,
bet he tried to
truly.
write with his right hand.
No, he
just
wrote
to
with his
throw
left
you
hand,
off.
but when I was in like high school, I would like copy my mom's signature. She gave me
Ooh.
permission.
Oh,
But like, it was like to sign field trip slips, or like if she forgot to sign something, she'd be like, just sign it. It's okay. I always
You
told her, isn't
are-
that funny?
you are to me what your
Mm-hmm.
mom was to you. Like, just sign it for me and send it.
Yeah. I always told my mom always knew I was doing it, but I'd be like, oh, I forgot to have you sign this. And she'd be like, go for it.
Now, I can't remember if I wrote letters to Santa. I never forged my mom's signature as far as I remember. But this story has to do with just that. Not plagiarism, and I guess it's not plagiarism, not forging a signature, but a little letter that was discovered recently. A letter to Santa from 120 years ago.
Nor would they want an orange and a half penny. Sorry.
Makes me wonder how old the 12 Days of Christmas song is. Because, like, is that what they would want? 5 golden rings? 2 turtle doves?
Well, who doesn't want a golden ring? Let's be clear. I take 5 golden rings.
I bet you would.
Which I want to go to a pawn shop and look for golden rings.
Just for fun?
Just like diamond rings. Because they're cheaper there. You can get like a really nice diamond ring for like $175.
Wow.
This is a random thing.
That is so random.
5 diamond rings from the pawn shop.
Check this out. In a letter to Santa Claus penned by a young girl named Marjorie in 1898. This letter was discovered behind a fireplace in London during renovation
Behind a
work.
fireplace?
Yeah,
They're like, we're going to burn this letter.
Well, you know, there's a lot of stories about people opening up their walls and finding things other than normal insulation in there.
Humans.
Yeah.
Bones.
But
Remains. Sorry.
for instance, like this, there was a letter there. I bet they're not trying to insulate the house by putting a letter in it. But years ago, I was reading some stories about a couple that was renovating their house, and when they tore open the walls, instead of having insulation in there, it was lined with comic books. One of which, well, there was a couple.
Probably worth a ton.
It was like the first appearance of Superman, Action Comics #1 or whatever
like
it was.
Millions of dollars.
Even though it was in terrible condition, it still went for, I think, $1 million.
That makes sense. We should open up our walls. Just kidding. I know there's something in there.
There's nothing. I'll tell you where there's nothing in our ceilings because we have opened up all those.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing
There's
fun
insulation.
in there.
That's it.
I also saw a really funny thing where someone opened their wall and there was a picture of the couple that lived there before them. And they're like, hi, we're the Chens. And if you're opening this wall, why? Was it not nice enough before? You didn't like the way we decorated?
Something
I was
like that,
that's so funny. Totally would do that. I have seen people put plastic skeletons in their walls too. I think it's hilarious.
One day, if we ever have a house and we remodel, we should just do that for funsies.
It's just like every wall puts some different terror for people to find and have a podcast about in 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Anyway, the letter was dated December 2nd, 1898, was addressed to, quote, Dear Father Christmas, and included some details here. Let me tell you, because I got way interested in this. Let's see what she asked for. Scrolling. She asked for a new hat, a dolly,
A bonnet.
a box of paints.
A doll. Not an actual dolly, like a doll, I'm sure.
Yeah, like a refrigerator dolly. No, like a doll, a box of paints, a hymn book, a few toys for her little sister, and other things like that. Here's what I was interested in. I was like, what the heck was going on during that time?
Tell me.
When this little girl was writing a letter to Santa, what else was she dealing with? Well, if you've got that question, I've got those answers.
What was she dealing with?
Thank you for asking. Lots of stuff. Did you know that heating in homes were typically coal fireplaces and stoves?
Yeah, there's no insulation. There's none of that stuff.
None of that. No comic books in the walls to insulate.
No, comic books didn't exist.
Other things, the urban areas, like where this was found, was often densely populated with multiple families often sharing single houses. Access to clean water and proper sanitation was limited, leading to health challenges just like these common illnesses like cholera, typhus, tuberculosis, largely due to the overcrowding and the lack of sanitation. Anyway, this is this little girl writing this little letter, just wanting a rubber duck, a dolly.
She didn't say rubber duck.
Yeah, I read it in the article. I didn't say it earlier.
Oh, I was like, what a weird thing.
But what a sweet little thing. A little girl writing to Santa and then probably her dad shoving it behind the chimney. Who knows? Maybe they were like, this is how you get it. And they throw it up the chimney. This is how we send it. Boom.
Boom. And then Santa gets it.
It falls down. They'll just
Father
keep throwing it
Christmas
up.
gets it. Old Saint Nick.
So cute, though. So keep writing letters to Santa is what I'm getting at here. Now, Christmas, which is tomorrow, very exciting. It's a time for giving.
Is it?
For receiving.
Maybe.
For spending time with family.
Uh-huh.
For baking.
Yes.
And for breaking.
Up.
No.
Oh.
Breaking up. Is this how you're going to tell me about that?
No. Not me. No.
It is a time for breaking. And by breaking, I mean that there is a 43% increase in penile fractures at Christmas time. Yes, that face is correct. Did you ever watch New Girl?
The Chick-fil-A sauce.
Did you watch New Girl?
Yeah, I did, but
Where
I
Schmidt
didn't
broke his
finish it all.
penis?
No, I didn't watch that.
Yeah,
Well,
so it turns
maybe I
out that's a real thing. And according to doctors, there is a 43% increase in these penile fractures. Yes.
At Christmas time?
At Christmas
Is
time.
that because all the wives are giving their husbands special gifties?
Let's hope.
How does it happen? It doesn't tell you how it happens.
It does.
Oh.
It does. It does. It tells you a whole slew of things. Let me tell you some of the details here. During the Christmas season, there's a notable increase in these penile fractions, a rare but very serious injury, typically resulting from forceful bending or vigorous activity. I'm trying to leave out certain keywords.
We're making a Christmas baby.
Exactly. So here's how they found it out. A German hospital studied data from 2005 until 2021, 16 years of data, to find that every day like Christmas, there was an increase of about 43% of these types of injuries.
Dang.
So common reasons for this are unusual locations for doing it and...
Like physically locations in your house and place, or
I wouldn't, maybe in the broom closet at work at a holiday party.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
And it specifically including extramarital affairs.
Makes sense.
Now, I can imagine this person who's got a broken ding dong on Christmas going in there and they're like, what happened? And you're like, well, this woman who's not my wife and I, can you imagine?
How do you tell your wife?
How do you tell your
wife? I
wife?
fell down the stairs.
While your wife's like, it's time for the thing I've been saving for you.
I know.
It's time.
He's like, if I would have just waited.
I'm here to give you that penile fracture you were hoping for.
Oh my gosh, that's
And he's
crazy.
like, I can't. You know why that
already have
person
one.
wouldn't be? Because I already have one.
Yeah.
I don't want a duplicate, really, is the problem. But
I already gifted that.
let me see where it says this.
Return policy is terrible.
The injury is typically marked, get ready, gentlemen, by an audible crack, severe pain, rapid loss of erection, and significant swelling and bruising.
Even that hurts me.
Happy holidays, everybody. I know.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. In case you find yourself in that situation, first, I'm so
Don't call
sorry.
me. I don't
Second,
care.
don't call Kellie. Third, seek immediate medical attention.
Durr.
Exercise caution, and wrap that rascal, I guess. Get it taken care of.
In something other than whatever you have it wrapped in right now.
Yes.
Ew.
Hey-o. Anyway, had to sprinkle in that story. Let me ask you this. What's the weirdest thing that you've ever eaten? Not necessarily holiday or Christmas themed, but like, what's a weird food or something that you've eaten?
Cow tongue. Liverwurst. Which I really enjoy both.
Which is better?
I like liverwurst.
What's cow tongue like?
It's like steak. Like a really moist.
You had like a
steak.
fillet of it?
No, think Korean barbecue.
Yeah, like thinly sliced.
Yeah, but think Korean barbecue steak.
Yeah.
But it was really moist and yummy.
I bet it was moist. It's covered in saliva. Oh,
Mine.
I didn't need that. Gross.
Covered in my saliva. It was yummy.
I've had kangaroo before.
How dare
ground
you?
kangaroo.
I'm just kidding.
In Australia.
They're pests out there, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, which
You
makes
bought
it
it at a local place that served like
it was at a restaurant.
Yeah, at a restaurant. I'm
With
just
Brooke Fraser, actually, oddly enough.
crazy.
And many other people. So I've had that. I've had rattlesnake before and rabbit.
That
in a
is kind of
sausage.
weird.
But it was ground to a sausage at a brat place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't that crazy. But still, it was like crazy enough.
Rattlesnake sausage at a brat place? Is that what you're saying?
It was rabbit and rattlesnake ground into a sausage. So it wasn't like they just gave me a steak.
And I thought
or like
bison was weird.
Bison's pretty normal.
I know that now.
Bison at Trader Joe's, I think.
Yeah, you can.
What you can't get at Trader Joe's are the 4 out of the 10 pygmy goats that were cooked up this year.
Pygmy goats?
Yes, by the director of the zoo that he took them from. Here's the headline. The director of a zoo in Mexico had 4 of its 10 pygmy goats cooked up for a New Year's feast. Second pygmy animal that's come up this year so far in Hardly Holidays. Are you all settled over there? Because you're quiet.
I'm so
as
sorry.
Everything. You are church mouse over there.
Can you explain to me what a pygmy is?
It means a small mini version of something.
So it was a pygmy goat?
Goat. And
I've had
Mudang
goat.
was a pygmy hippo.
I've had goat before.
Goat is not uncommon.
No.
Especially, I know that it's big in India. I know that Texas has recently, within the last 10 years, has had a larger influx of an Indian population. So it's getting more popular out there to raise goats and to eat goats out there.
They also make curry goats in like Jamaica, curried goat in like Jamaica, things like that.
Here's the problem, though. These 4 goats were at the zoo.
Yeah, how did they get from the zoo to, did you say Trader Joe's?
No, I didn't say Trader Joe's.
Oh, you said you can buy some Trader Joe's. How did they get from the zoo to this place where you could eat them?
I will give you the details. It didn't get to a place. This dude
just sold them from his house?
He sold them. He cooked them. He did a lot of shady stuff.
I personally raised these from the zoo, and then I stole them from the zoo. They're organic.
Grass-fed.
Grass-fed by me.
So I'm just going to have some disclaimers, not only in this story, but in stories to follow. I can't pronounce all of these things.
That's okay.
But I will give it my 30% best.
I've watched you do that before. You're pretty good at it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's all about confidence.
It's all about confidence, baby.
Last year in 2023, authorities in Chilpancingo, Mexico, accused Jose Ruben Nava, the former director of the local zoo, Chilpan Zoo.
He was the director of the zoo?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I thought he just worked there.
That's
or stole them. I don't know.
That would be like you cooking and serving other employees.
Not quite, but
I think it's exactly
that's called
right.
Cannibalism. Ladies and gentlemen and kids.
Would you try? Never mind.
No.
Different time. Okay, so he's no longer working there, not because of this one thing, but several serious offenses. Not only eating and cooking, but also some sketchy stuff here. First, slaughtering zoo animals for consumption.
Like the goats.
Allegedly,
The pygmy goats.
Nava ordered the killing of 4 male pygmy goats from the zoo's collection. These animals were reportedly slaughtered, cooked, and then served to the staff at an end-of-year banquet.
They're like, oh, this is so good. What is this? Goat? Pygmy goat? What? Yeah, it's little Lucy.
Oh.
And Steve, the goat.
Oh, don't name them. And they wouldn't be Lucy and
named.
Steve in Mexico.
Little.
Don't. Probably better that we don't.
Hortensia.
Sure. Hortensia, here's a who. Who knows?
I do know Hortensia.
Here's more.
She's lovely.
She is lovely. Investigators revealed that Nava purportedly engaged in unauthorized exchanges of zoo animals. Notably, a zebra was traded for, wait for it, some tools. I'll trade you a zebra for this hacksaw. And it
for
was
the goats.
Or the goats. Yeah,
for the goats, yeah.
It was intended for zoo maintenance. However, they looked for the tools. It's not there. Maybe Nava just took them. Additionally, a deer and a Watusi cattle were allegedly traded to private individuals without proper documentation or even justification. There was more unaccounted for animals from this guy. Listen to this. Authorities reported discrepancies in the zoo's animal records with at least 14 animals, including a coyote, a baby macaw, and a jaguar that are unaccounted for. So this dude's doing all sorts of weird stuff with the animals.
Maybe they ate those too. Who knows?
It's definitely possible. We don't know. It's still an ongoing investigation.
It's crazy that he would serve the pygmy goats to the staff that took care of little Hortensia and Jesus. It's insane.
The real question is, did they know?
Probably not.
Were they like, hey, we noticed the goat enclosure is like
probably not till later,
empty?
and I bet you a lot of them cried.
And also, why is this a holiday story? Because it's the end of the year celebration for them last year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So be careful at your holiday parties is what I'm getting at.
You never know.
You never know which little Hortensia or Jesus you might be. The more we say it, the worse it is. I'm
like, that one sounded worse than mine. I was referencing the goats.
Me too.
Yeah, but you also referenced cannibalism earlier. So
yeah, we're going to have to clip out this whole episode.
Be like, you serving one of your employees. That's what you said. I was like, what?
Well, he was the director, and I was like, you were the director of stuff.
Yeah. Like, this is chicken, guys.
Eat more
chicken?
Question mark. Well, let's transition back to Christmas then, because the New Year's got a little weird. Okay. We all know when it comes to Christmas characters, Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus,
Rudolph,
the elves. Maybe you even know about Krampus.
Yeah.
The Christmas demon. But
what about Frosty the Snowman?
We all know Frosty.
I thought you were going to talk about him. You're not.
No.
I'm ready.
Because maybe you haven't heard of the child-eating Yule Cat.
No.
Now, truly, I don't know if we talked about this last year because I had it in my notes and I just have no idea if we talked about it. but there is a legend of a child-eating Yule Cat.
Is a Yule Cat just a cheery cat?
I think it's more of a holiday cat, as in Yule being like the
Yuletide.
holiday.
Yeah, Yuletide greetings.
But you want to know more about this Yule Cat?
Yeah, I do.
It was funny because in so many cultures, whether it's through holidays, religion, whatever, there's a lot of things that are made up so that children will behave.
Krampus.
Even Santa himself.
That's true.
Naughty or nice.
He sees you when you're sleeping. Creepy.
He knows when you're awake.
Really?
Still creepy. Anyway, so we have the Yule Cat. Remember when I mentioned that I'm not going to be able to pronounce things? This is another one of those stories. First, the Yule Cat, known as the, here we go, Jólakötturinn in Icelandic folklore, is a formidable feline that is said to prowl the snowy countryside during Christmas time, devouring individuals who haven't received, wait for it, new clothes before Christmas Eve.
Wow.
It's confusing. So what I did...
So they have to receive new clothes before Christmas Eve?
Yeah, I was like, what does that mean? Like, that sounds old-timey, right? Like, new clothes?
Master's giving Dobby a sock.
But...
Dobby is a free elf. Yule Cat won't eat me.
Careful.
Sorry.
Last time we talked about Dobby,
I cried.
we were crying. So I asked to see a version of how a parent in Iceland would explain this to their kid.
Oh my gosh. And explain it to me like I'm 5.
Okay. Honey,
Yeah.
you know that it's almost Christmas, right?
I'm so excited.
Do you think you've been a good child today and this year?
I think I've been a pretty good kid. I mean, sometimes I've been bad at my homework, but I've been nice.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you think so, but I hope the Yule Cat agrees.
The Yule Cat?
You don't know about the Yule Cat?
Is that like Lucky?
No, that's a regular cat, dummy.
What's a Yule Cat?
I'm glad you asked. Sit down, get comfortable, and listen to this terrifying story.
Okay.
Once upon a time in the snowy lands of Iceland, there lived a giant cat known as the Yule Cat,
How
or
giant was it?
very giant.
Okay.
Or, as I called it earlier, the Jólakötturinn.
Got it.
Lots of weird symbols on that word. I'm probably not saying it right at all. But that doesn't matter. This wasn't an ordinary cat.
Okay.
It was large, like you mentioned and asked earlier.
Oh.
But only bad little children ask questions during Dad's story.
Oh.
I also was playing the character of Mom in this story, but I never said it out loud.
I knew.
Mom, this did you?
Yeah.
How did you know that?
Because you're my mommy.
It wasn't an ordinary cat. It was enormous, with eyes that gleamed like the moon and whiskers sharp as swords.
I think you're scaring Milo.
Shut up, children.
Sorry, Mom.
Every Christmas Eve, the Yule Cat would prowl through villages, peeking into homes to see which children had been hardworking throughout the year. You see, in those days, children who diligently completed their chores were rewarded with new clothes for Christmas, but those who were lazy and didn't help out would receive nothing. The Yule Cat knew this and had a special way of checking. For the hardworking children, if the Yule Cat saw you wearing new clothes, it would purr with delight and continue on its way, knowing you had been good and, for some reason, industrious. But not for the lazy children. If it found you without any new garments, it would let out a fearsome growl, for it loved to gobble up those who hadn't earned their festive attire.
Oh, no.
So remember to always be helpful and hardworking, child. Not only will you earn new clothes to keep you warm during the Christmas cold season, but you'll also ensure that the Yule Cat passes by your house, leaving you safe and sound. Does that not sound like Passover?
100%. Do you think that parents go all out in Iceland and like get machines that sound like purring or growling?
Machines is a strong word, but yeah, like
you know what I mean?
A speaker.
They play that sound.
I think some do. You know, in a couple days, you'll hear some unpop a pins, one of which has to do with Krampus and a mom insisting to want to tell their kid that this thing exists.
I didn't see that unpop a pin.
Well, stay tuned for a few days from now.
I have the unpop a pins.
I may have brought some too. You never know.
Great.
So if this person's willing to be like, it's important to me that they know about Krampus, this demon that's going to kill them or eat them or whatever for Christmas, if they're not good, I'm sure there are people in Iceland, in Reykjavik, Iceland. That's probably not Iceland at all. But I'm sure people do that.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about it. I was like, what a weird thing to be like, there's a big Yule Cat, and if you're not industrious, I know I have to explain to you what that word means. And you won't get new clothes before Christmas.
Isn't that so sad?
I'm like, is that what they get for Christmas? Just clothes?
I don't know.
Do they
Maybe it's
get
leading up
toys?
to Christmas, but
why?
It's also instilling in these poor kids like, hey, if you don't do good enough and look good enough, a beast from the forest might come to
and let's
eat
be
you.
clear, I'm not on this list because I have new clothes all the time. And so does Brooklyn, and so do you. I buy
yeah.
you guys stuff all the time. So
Maybe
we
Mocha
cool.
was a Yule Cat, and you just never knew because you were always
My moo-moo.
in fresh threads. Also, bad system because you can be a terrible person who can buy clothes.
That's true.
So it's
but
flawed
maybe they have
from
to be
the start.
gifted to you.
How would the Yule Cat know? By peeking in your window if it
Also,
was a gift
thank
or
goodness
not.
I always gift like socks to people I know. I'm saving you from the Yule Cat. You're welcome.
That's right. So if you have any downtime in the holiday season, put those socked feet up by the window so the Yule Cat will know that you were a good boy or good girl this year, lest we be eaten before our Christmas holiday, which is tomorrow.
That's exciting.
Happy Christmas Eve, everybody. That's a wrap on day 2
Oh, okay.
with outrageous stories.
I had an outrageous story.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it wasn't quite like yours. Mine was from Reddit. I just thought it was crazy.
Well, tell
It's
me
really
the
quick. It's not
story.
that long. Because, Reddit, they tell stories about themselves, what they did.
Love it.
And I thought to myself, wow, this person's like Brooklyn's age.
Oh,
and that's
no.
sad.
And
This
they're
is a-
writing on Reddit?
And this is a story. It's about 3 siblings, and the 2 oldest siblings. It's a quick story. The 2 oldest siblings. Let me go back. My brothers weren't like this. They would always make jokes about Christmas and like me getting coal and all that stuff like prior to Christmas, but they would like never be mean enough to like take all my presents and do stuff. I read the story on Reddit that truly was like there were 3 siblings, and the 2 oldest siblings thought it would be so funny to trick their 8-year-old sibling. And so Christmas Eve, they snuck out of their rooms and they hid all of the presents, all of his presents specifically, somewhere else. And they went and they wrapped coal. They put it in boxes and then wrapped it up and like matched the amount of presents that they had under the tree. They dumped out his stocking and filled it only with coal and Q-tips. I don't know why they did Q-tips, but then they were like, we thought it was so funny and it was so hysterical. And we'd hit all those things. And the next morning, our 8-year-old little brother woke up and went and did all this stuff and opened one present after the other and dumped out his stocking. And all he had was coal and Q-tips. And he cried. I was like,
And then
would you ever do that?
from the window, we heard the growl of the Yule Cat coming to eat my bad brother.
Would you ever do that though? Isn't that a crazy thing?
No.
I think it's crazy to me that there are people like that in this world. Thank you so much. I was going to do that next time.
I'm over it.
Sorry, Milo.
Sorry, Milo.
I think it's crazy that people like do that. That is like, people are like, this is going to be so funny. It's going to be so funny if I give you coal as every part of your gift.
Yeah. We're not pranky, though. We're not little pranksters.
Yeah, I did read another story, which I thought this was like appropriate for them to do this. It's coming from somewhere else.
No. Throw it. What was your other story?
Was that they was another family that they do Secret Santas and they were hosting their cousin, but their cousin had tried to burn down their house. Like truly burn down the house, and they ruined their Xbox and a bunch of all their stuff. And so
And they still were like, he can come.
yeah, they're like, well, he was living with them.
Oh.
And so one of the siblings got him, and he literally went and found coal in the backyard and wrapped it up and gave it to him in a big Ziploc bag. And after that,
Who has coal in the yard?
they lived in some state where there were coal mines somewhere.
Okay,
Also,
sure.
never would I ever do that either, but that's besides the point. Anyways, my stories weren't as fun as yours. I should have started with mine, but I just thought it was so interesting because we are not pranky people, nor do I know anyone that would prank someone that bad to be like, I'm taking all of your gifts and I'm wrapping them in coal. Or I'm
Look,
wrapping up coal instead. I'm like, that is crazy.
I've heard of a lot of parents doing like
The coal
actually the
bit.
coal bit and that
And
kind of
it's
stuff.
chocolate instead of actual coal.
Well, I mean, that would be a nice way to do the bad bit, but I've heard just like legit coal.
It's so mean.
Yeah, but you and I don't take pleasure out of others' misfortunes, usually, especially when it's a kid or our kid. Like, we ain't never gonna do that. But you can do whatever you want to do with your children, I guess. You know what? No, be nice to people.
Because Krampus is coming.
And so is the Yule Cat. And I hear they're teaming up, tag team champions this
That's
year.
right. And the Bleakin.
The Bleakin is
Is gonna
gonna wish that he was never born. We didn't even talk about the creepy Bleakin, but maybe later on another episode of Hardly Holidays. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. I hope you have a
Christmas
wonderful Christmas day. I know
you.
we will. And we'll be back on Christmas Day with day 3 of Hardly Holidays.
You're welcome.
We're playing some games because you know that Kellie loves Christmas movies.
I do.
And we're going to go real or fake Christmas movies and maybe even get
this.
the yearly rundown of Kellie's Christmas
Slim pickings this year,
faves.
guys.
That seems crazy. I know you've doubled and tripled up on movie watching
I do have
lately.
some, though.
So you got that to look forward to. But until then, enjoy your Christmas Eve and have a wonderful Christmas holiday. We love you. We hope you spend most of your holiday
Hardly working. Bye.